And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined as always on this fine Thursday afternoon by Aaron Larsoul. Coming off of the holidays, I want to apologize to everybody. You can maybe hear it a little in my voice. I'm going to go as long as I possibly can here today. I'm coming off of a pretty
sounds
nasty
like about
bug.
8 minutes at this point.
Yeah. So I over the holiday caught strep throat, which I don't know if any of you have ever had it. I'm sure you guys, some of you listening have had it. It is a real kick in the nuts, man. It is every bad part of being sick that you could possibly
What were you
experience.
going to say without the good parts? That sounded like
No,
you were
it's
going to
it's
make
like
some
no,
sort of
like
comparison.
like you take it like strep throat basically takes like some of the worst parts of other like sicknesses that you can get, not illnesses but sicknesses, right? So
right.
there's a little like nausea in there, a lot of
Oh,
aches and pains,
okay.
can't talk, you're
Okay.
exhausted all the time, the chills and then the sweats, and it's just, I am telling you, it is awful.
That sounds COVID-ish, by the way. But this
No,
feels like a
I
good.
know it wasn't COVID. I know, like, I
This feels like
tested
a good.
multiple
This
times.
feels like a good moment for me. This feels like my. We'll call you like Kobe. I'm Jordan Clarkson. You're Steph. I'm Jordan Poole. Well, a lot of Jordans this morning. I think this is time for me to shine. I'm getting my shots up. You're gonna have to take the back seat now. I'm getting shots up. The aging superstar is that makes me the young guy though, which is not true. But the aging superstar
and me a superstar
maybe doesn't have it today, and I'm gonna get them up. I'm gonna get my shots up.
Jen was laughing at me all weekend because I broke the biggest story to this point of my career, which accentuates how little news breaking I have done over the course of my career.
That was a good one. That was a good one. I got lots of a little behind. Well, actually, say what it was, and then I'll take you a little behind the curtain, dude. Like, take your victory lap, and then I will.
This was the Lakers. The Lakers played on a Wednesday, right? And then, and then the next day, I woke up to a text.
We played Monday. We played the Knicks at home on Monday, and then it was at OKC. No, it was because you had the. Well, you know what? Never mind. Go ahead, continue.
But yeah, the first day that they had it was against OKC.
Correct. Yeah.
So whatever it was, there was a couple days between.
It was OKC was Friday, and then Monday was the Celtics. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So there were a couple days before.
I think it was Minnesota. I think it was Minnesota. It was Minnesota Wednesday, right? At Minnesota Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go.
Wednesday or Thursday, and then was it a back to back? It was at Minnesota and then at OKC, which was Friday, and then Celtics Monday.
So I got a text, the Thursday before the Lakers played on Friday, and usually we don't hear anything about starting lineups until the half hour before.
Who is we?
Well, I'm saying like we.
Who is we, Paleface?
We who the Lakers don't want to know, right?
Correct.
So the fact
Darvin's
that
a little better about it than Frank. Frank would be like 30 minutes to the second.
Yeah, but so that Thursday before, this is a full like 36 hours before the Lakers would play their next game. I get a text from a source, and it's like, you won't believe what they're thinking about doing.
And this is completely unsolicited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it was just like, you won't believe what they're thinking about doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got another text, again, from somebody this is a little closer to the organization, but somebody who like uses we, goes, you won't believe what we're thinking about doing. And I'm like, oh, so there's this isn't a this isn't a unanimous decision. This isn't something that everybody was thrilled about. And so I get the word that it's going to be D'Angelo Russell's going to be sitting. and that Jared Vanderbilt is going to be going into the starting lineup. And I'm like, okay, so like Cam is coming out, right? Like Cam's coming out, right? Like you're gonna be playing Austin, right? Like Austin's gonna be starting now, and it felt giant swig, well timed giant swig from Aaron there. So I go like
I have
you need
strep
like
throat too. I'm just trying to dull the pain. That's what that was.
so I
The
go
timing was
like
completely
he,
coincidental.
you're like he's starting, right? Like you're just gonna do the simple thing here. It's just gonna like be play your best players and like go roll like that. No, so the Lakers, so that's when I had uh heard from there's like 3, 4, maybe even 5 sources total over the course of the day. It was like, I mean, I can't not report this. I have this pretty down pat. And
Hold on, though. That's one you have to definitely have.
hmm?
Not pretty down pat. You have to have
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So I messaged Harrison, who used to be my editor at Silver Screen and Roll, and obviously I didn't, tell him my editing. I didn't tell him my sourcing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I told him like I know from, you know, 4 or 5 people in varying circumstances close to the Lakers and close to people around the Lakers that I think this is what they're going to do. Should I report this? And he never responded.
That's funny.
So I'm like, well, shit. All right. I'm just gonna do it.
You had to go on your
And
own.
I tweeted the I thought it gave me the most outs possible, right? I said, I'm hearing whispers that the Lakers are considering a change
No, you
in the
had to be.
starting
You had to be
lineup.
right. You were, but you had to be right.
Yeah. I'm hearing whispers that the Lakers are considering a change in their starting lineup. That being that and it's obviously subject to change, but D'Angelo Russell would be going to the bench and Jared Vanderbilt would be going into the starting lineup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the extent of the thing. The next time I heard from Harrison, and really
Wait. I think you put the 5 starters. Didn't you in that tweet name the 5 starters? And
I
you
don't
had it
think so.
right.
I just said like Jared. I think I
I'm
just
pretty
said
sure you had it.
Vanderbilt
I'm pretty
in,
sure.
D'Angelo Russell out.
I'm pretty sure you had all 5 in there.
If I did, that would have made the tweet even better. But
I think you did.
so I then the next time I heard from Harrison was him saying, if you get this wrong, I am going to roast you to the ends of the earth. That was the
So
and then I heard from you and you go, all right, Woj, you're reporting now, huh?
yeah. So all right. So here's what happened. So you texted me like,
Yeah.
look, you and I are friends like outside of this.
Yeah.
But you
You're like one
texted
of my
me like
closest friends in this industry. I'm down to
wanted
say
me to
that.
be wanting me to be like a source. You already had it, but I think
Yeah.
you wanted me to confirm it basically. And that's not something I can do, unfortunately. Like for something like this, I just can't.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um so what was funny though is you probably thought I was like ducking you, but what happened was I go to this place in Pasadena called Muscle Lab. Shout out Muscle Lab. They take care of me. It's one of the reasons I'm walking better after all my surgeries. So shout out to Muscle Lab. So I was in there like getting treatment on my knees and my back and all kinds of stuff, which is like the only time during the week I am away from my phone for a couple hours, an hour, maybe 2 hours or so. So I didn't have my phone. So I didn't notice that until I got back to the car after I was done. And I thought about it for a sec because that's not something I can confirm.
Yeah.
But you had it before it, at least as far as I know, you had it before anybody I know had it. And so I was like happy for you and like kind of proud of you. But I had to be vague because I'm not gonna I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. And I
So
totally understood
what I
that.
said was I have heard rumors, but I don't know anything. Of course, I knew
Yeah.
something, but I had heard rumors that was what it was going to be. I had been asked my opinion on it, but I didn't know that was going to happen. I heavily suspected because I was asked my opinion about it specifically, and then so once you put it out there in the world, if you were wrong, I would have told you.
Mhm.
Because I don't want you to get I just don't want you to get crushed like that. I
Yeah.
can't confirm that you're right,
Yeah.
but if you're wrong and you put it out there, I'm gonna tell you don't do this.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like lead you to do that, like lead you to put it out there because you were right.
Yeah.
And you're not like this is not your lane, but that's why I said once you put it out there, that's why I think you had all 5 guys right. That's why when you put it out there, I said, okay, whatever. And then I think you were on All Access that night once you were right, or maybe it was the next night once you were right, and we had to gas you up like it's the Irwin bombs. um, you know what was
So
interesting, and by the way, full credit to you. I have the source was not me. I think I've made that clear here. And I have had lots of people from around the league and even from the team itself ask me, where the fuck did he get that? And I don't know the answer to that.
I can't. I'm not
Because
gonna say.
no, nor should you. But there were not a lot of people that would have that information at that time that would know that. So that good on you. That's a good source, or at least this time it was, because that was not something that was out there widely. I mean, look, you had it before all the Lakers, McMiniman and Jovan and and like the rest of the entire crew, right? The whole crew that's there every day. And you had it before Shams, you had it before Woj, you had it before Chris, like Mark Stein, and all the people that we respect and care about. So I had lots of people ask me, like, how the fuck does he know this? Like, I don't have a
I
good
drink and
answer
I
for
know things.
I don't have an answer for you because I started like I became curious because I started like breaking down, okay, like who actually knows this, right? Like who are people that at this point, by the time you figured it out, at this point it was the day before, at the time you had figured it out, who would know this? And the list is like 10, 12 people, maybe 15. Um, I happen to be one of them, and I know, and I'm probably the one that's closest to you, and I know I didn't talk to you about it.
Yeah.
So we were like breaking it down. I got lots of texts like, how the fuck does Irwin have this before any of the beat guys or any of the national newsbreakers? And I don't know, but good for him.
I want to give credit though to the guys on the beat and to the I mean just the guys on the beat. They again, this is the first time that I've really stuck my neck out there and done something like this and tweeted it right. I've written some stuff for Substack, which by the way, my most recent piece for Substack has some intel on the response to the new starting lineup and some of the potential frustrations with it. So check that out as well. But um yeah, this was the first time that I'd done that. And look, Dan Wojcicki didn't have to quote tweet me in the way that he did to say that I'm hearing some of this stuff that is similar. Like he didn't have to do that. Um,
No, that's what he should do, but
McMenamin reached
lots of
out
people
and said,
don't.
like, this was, good scoop and
Yeah.
that stuff. Like, I really appreciated the response to that from the guys who were doing like this on a daily basis. I
Yep.
don't. I'm telling you, I'm not positive that there isn't a correlation between me getting sick and the amount of stress that came with this entire
No, there
ordeal.
may not be. Yeah.
Because it was
Yeah.
like 36 hours of like I'm like 99.9% sure that I have this right. And I just have to wait and see for the actual lineup that they throw out there.
You
You
have
have
to wait for
Harrison
half an
tweeting
hour
stuff out
before.
like
Actually, it
this is
came
an
out a little
Anthony
before.
Irwin legacy
Yeah,
game.
once Shams, I think once Shams was first between
Yeah.
him and Woj, but once Shams said it, I think
Yeah.
he said it like 2 or 3 hours before the OKC
Yeah.
game. So that must have
But
made you feel significantly better, but
yeah, I was driving with Jen and Shams tweeted it out, and then I think around that time Dave also DM'd me, and Jen was like, "You got a message from Dave McMenamin?" I was like, I
here's what I'll say, just know this,
go
that
orange.
without yeah, go yeah, sure. Future opponent of my California Golden Bears in the ACC.
Yeah.
Um I mean, this is behind the curtain, and I don't know that people are the listeners to Lakers Lounge.
Yeah, we
give a
got to
shit
move
about
on
this
to
at
like
all.
actually covering and
But
responding to the.
just know that when I can, I will. Like, I'm not gonna. I can't. I'm not gonna confirm like stuff that's like a competitive advantage. I can't do that. That will put the Lakers at a competitive disadvantage. I'm just. Or I mean, I could. I just won't. Um, but when I can, I'm going to. I will save you from embarrassing yourself when I can.
Yeah,
So once
yeah,
you put it out there, and I said, okay, like, whoa, okay, Shams, whatever. Like you, if it happens again, and I do that, just feel confident that you're right.
yeah. All right,
Hopefully
so
you won't have strep throat, so I have to run the entire show next time.
we gotta talk about the actual starting lineup and get our thoughts on it. To this point, the returns have been. I mean, Darvin wants to consider it more good than bad. I would disagree.
Let's call it mixed. Like me, let's call it mixed.
Like I said, in my piece, there is some internal frustration with the starting lineup. I think the kind of core 6 guys that are coming back, came back from that Western Conference Finals team, are wondering at what point do
When
we
you say that,
become the crux of the team?
are you saying the end of the regular season starters in Rui from last year? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
By
like
6? Okay.
the 6 returners from
Yeah.
last year's Western Conference Finals team. They're kind of sitting there wondering, like, when do we become like the core that we were last year? When do we actually build off of the continuity? You're 31 games into the season, and you don't really know the team's identity, and that's kind of a problem. And Lil Chris Johnson here with a super comment saying Ham made this team more about TP and Cam. And it's not wrong. It's not wrong when you consider, like, let's just look at Austin Reeves, for example.
Hold
Okay?
on, let's I think that's
You should probably just start like
I
pulling from the top.
will, but let me frame this because I think that's kind of the wrong way to look at it. I think that's backwards. Because Vando was out.
Some of it's circumstantial.
Vando was out at the beginning. I mean, like the Cam Austin question, I think is fine. That's a fine question. But as far as Darvin making it about Taurean Prince, I don't think that's entirely fair because I do think Taurean was the better option and has proved to be the better option, at least so far, than Rui in the original group when Vando was unavailable. And I think that Taurean has played well enough to have earned like keeping his spot and not being removed. I mean, so I do think you can get to the Austin and Cam stuff, but I think the Taurean stuff is sort of a red herring. And by the way, I advocated for Taurean to start the year at the 3. He is not who I would play now, but I understand Taurean, I guess, more than I understand Cam. Let's put it that way. So go for it. I thought that was being a little unfair to Taurean.
So I still though think that, all right. So usually with coaches, you find that coach erring on the side of, the guys that they have had success with prior, right? Direct success with prior. And
they usually err on the side of something, right? Like it's either offense or defense or the veteran. Yeah. They err. Yeah. They have they have a milieu. They have a manifesto. They have a way of doing things.
Yeah. An ideology.
Yes. There you go. That's a better word for it.
And so with Ham, I figured coming into the season, I didn't think that I would be sitting here like begging him to just lean heavily on the guys that got him to the Western Conference Finals last year. I didn't think that would be something that I would be like hoping for. If anything, I thought maybe there would be too much leaning on Austin and D'Lo and maybe not enough time for wing play, right? Whether it was Cam or Max or Taurean or Vando or Rui. I thought that with the 3 guards that they had, I was a little nervous that there would be too much, 3 small guard lineup stuff that would hold back the roster as the league continues to evolve and really require you to play a bunch of wings. And here we find ourselves, like Austin in particular is somebody who I really kind of feel for, because look at last season. He starts the year behind Matt Ryan in the rotation. right?
He did.
Behind Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan got
He
minutes
did.
on opening night. Austin barely played, if he did at all. And then
This is
over the
true.
course of that year, every time he steps onto the court, you're like, man, this kid's got something, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
wow. And finally it takes Russell Westbrook getting traded and the Lakers not really having any other option but to put the ball in Austin's hands. And then the season takes off,
Mhm.
right? And
I
you
mean,
see this kid.
coinciding with D'Lo and Vando and Rui had been
Yeah,
there
yeah,
for a few
yeah. It
weeks. Yeah.
wasn't all Austin.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
But no,
I
Austin
don't
was
want to
definitely a
paint it.
big factor in it. Absolutely.
So Austin starts throughout that run that takes the Lakers from, out of the play-in to the play-in,
Mhm.
and then through the play-in games, and then
Mhm.
into the playoffs, through 2 rounds of the playoffs, and he
By the way,
starts this season.
on a leg that wasn't great either, by the way.
Yeah. And so he does all of that as the starting, and not like pseudo primary ball handler because LeBron is also there, right? You also know that like in big possessions, LeBron is going to be there. And
And D'Lo.
honestly, it's what like fascinated me most about Austin this season is the fact that he could exist as the primary ball handler in some lineups, and then when it comes time for LeBron to take the ball over, Austin can still function properly as a floor spacing shooter.
Yes,
It's why I was
he
so
is a
excited.
like I mean, we don't think of like dirty work, really good, just white dudes like this, but he is like a prototypical combo guard, right? Like he
Yeah,
can operate as the lead ball handler. It's probably not the thing he does best, but he can when that's going to be D'Lo or when that's going to be LeBron. He's also fine operating off the ball as a cutter, as a spacer, shooting the ball, all of that. Yes, he's like a
yeah.
prototypical combo guard. We just don't think of it. We think of that guy as Jamal Crawford, as Jordan Clarkson, as Jordan Poole, going back to all the Jordans, Lou Will, etc. But he is a Austin is like the prototypical combo guard. He can function in both places.
And so you come into this season, and I will not make any excuses, though I will offer up an explanation. Austin was clearly fatigued coming off of the FIBA play. Clearly hadn't gotten his legs under him. You could look at around the league with other players who participated in that FIBA tournament and the way that they started their season slow too.
Other
And
than
I think that
Halliburton.
what's that?
Other than Halliburton.
Yeah.
Halliburton was a monster from there. But Jalen Brunson,
Mhm.
and the same thing as Austin, right? Both of them, the second half of their seasons thus far was better than the first half of their seasons.
And look, Austin, gets benched though. So he goes from starting all the way on a Western Conference Finals team to getting moved to the bench, which
Mm-hmm.
he accepted, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't complain about it. He gets to the bench, and that move to the bench, I thought, kind of helped open up his game again, right? It allowed him to focus more on attacking, and it allowed him to focus more on kind of himself, and then allowing the game to dictate when he starts facilitating again. And then he winds up closing games at the end with LeBron, and the rest of what's left of the starting lineup there, or whatever. And it's like it's a role that makes some sense to him, right? So long as he gets like the a decent number of minutes, and then like somewhat arbitrarily, you get that weird press conference where Darvin Ham out of nowhere, and I'm told there was no conversation with Austin on this, which I don't understand. That's usually something Darvin is usually very good at, but Darvin just kind of says like, yeah, we think he's better as a 28-minute a night player,
27, 28 minutes. Yeah.
27, 28-minute a night player. And it's like, but he just played 36 minutes a night in the playoffs last year. And I never thought to myself, like, there were some stretches where Austin looked a little gassed or whatever, but like everybody looks gassed at various points in a playoff series. I never thought, and I certainly didn't think that he was so gassed that he needed to play like a third less minutes or something like that. So and then so this new starting lineup comes out, and in the 2 games since, Austin has scored like 11 points in each, and just doesn't seem to really. He hasn't really found his footing out there playing next to D'Lo again, because that was kind of the problem at the very beginning of the season. And like, this is my thing with the starting lineup. And we could talk about spacing, and we could talk about the offense, and we could talk about the defensive returns, and we could talk about all the stuff. But to me, my problem with the starting lineup is more just that, like, it's another aimless attempt, I think, at throwing mud at the wall and hoping something sticks, when the identity, I think, has been staring at Darvin Ham all season long. The identity is the guys that got you to the Western Conference Finals last year. The identity is the guys like somebody like Austin, who borderline saved your job last year, right? Like this is the part that's driving me kind of bonkers here is, and this is what I wrote, and this is the part that, like, when Jen watched before I started doing All Access Lakers games, you guys can see me do All Access when I'm watching those games. There are stretches for like 1-2 minutes where I just won't move, and then you'll just see my hands go to my face, and you'll see my head go down here, and it's a lot of sighing. And Jen will watch me watch games like that, and she'll be like, what's up? And I'm like, I have no idea what they're even trying to accomplish out there. And it's 31 games in. You're 9 games from the halfway point of the season. You should have some idea of what you're trying to accomplish on a game in, game out basis.
Okay, so there's quite a bit here. That was a good soliloquy. I like it. I got a chance to stretch out and do re mi, do re mi. Get my voice.
Yeah, I can't talk for another half hour.
A lot there. So I would say first of all, I think we need to be fair. Look here, I'm like the measured guy, and sometimes it seems like it's weird online because people think of me as a Warriors homer and a Lakers homer, which is weird. And then Warriors fans think I'm too much of a Lakers homer, and Lakers fans think I'm too much of a Warriors homer, which is very strange. So maybe this is me being a Lakers homer, but I'm trying to be fair to all parties involved. And to be fair to Darvin, not everybody. I'm using everybody like colloquially and loosely, but everybody was on his head about you're playing too small. The Lakers identity is big. We saw it in the in-season tournament. The Lakers beat everybody up because they were bigger, more physical, etc. And the complaint last year and then this year was you specifically thought he was going to default to playing too many little guys, right? 3 guards. Mm-hmm. We got to trade these guys away because he's going to play too many little guys. Okay, well, he's not playing too many little guys anymore, right? This is by NBA. This is a big ass starting lineup by NBA standards. And it is a step towards, or maybe it is just the answer to that identity. And yet everybody still has a problem with it after 2 games. So some of it is just Lakers fans finding things that are wrong. Just because that's what we do as fans. We find things that are wrong and we pick at them.
Well,
hold on. So in Darvin's defense, he is doing something that the overwhelming majority of Twitter Lakers fans and armchair quarterbacks and such, Twitter is not a real place, have wanted. And it's also like doesn't speak for all Lakers fans because 2% of Lakers fans are actually on Twitter. So in Darvin's defense, if you guys want him to play bigger and play more physical and more athletic, I mean, that is what is happening here. I personally have a lineup that I would start. But where I think your point is reasonable, and I've said this on All Access Lakers, I think I said this last week on your show here, I would start a different lineup. But what I don't understand is if Darvin, because Darvin obviously hasn't settled on anything yet. He hasn't settled on a starting lineup. He hasn't settled on a closing lineup. By this time of the season, you mentioned it, you would like to have done that. That isn't the case with all teams, though, right? Like Denver has their 5 guys. It's a great starting lineup, even though Aaron Gordon apparently got mauled by a dog. So I don't know what that's about. But I mean, they have their 5 guys.
He got that dog on him.
They fit in every scenario together, right? They fit very well together, but there also isn't like a place to exploit them. I said this on All Access last night with True. The Celtics kind of feel like that too, unfortunately. Like they feel like last year's Nuggets, where they have 5 guys that just fit incredibly well together and can kind of handle any situation. But that doesn't happen a lot. So it would be wonderful if the Lakers had 5 starters and 5 closers. They don't yet, at least. And so some of it is going to be matchup dependent. Some of it is going to be like, okay, like LeBron and AD are going to start and they're going to close. How are the other guys playing? What does the opponent look like for closing specifically? So that's going to be, it would be lovely if the Lakers had, these are our 5 guys here and these are our 5 guys here, but that doesn't exist yet. So in some respects, Darvin is looking for combinations and searching for some things. The place I think you make a good point, and I've advocated for this for a couple weeks now, is the Lakers' 3rd most played lineup last year was the lineup, the starters that, I mean, they only played 7 games together to end the regular season, but D'Lo, Austin, Vando, LeBron, AD. That lineup was, I think, plus 20.6, had a plus 20.6 net rating. And they only played 7 games together because D'Lo was out a lot after the All-Star break. And LeBron and AD both had their time away from, or their injury issues. But that lineup had a lot to do with the Lakers, as you said, going from out of the play-in to the Western Conference Finals. Vando had some struggles later in the playoffs. Rui was really good. D'Lo had some struggles. But if you are looking for something, we have evidence of that working. And that lineup has played 1 minute together this year. And I don't understand that. So I personally would play a different lineup. But I think if you're looking for something, if you're trying to find a baseline of something to build off of, I think it is quite reasonable for you to say, as you did, and for other people to say, why not give that one a shot because it just worked? The difference, though, is Vando wasn't available, so Taurean kind of entrenched himself. D'Lo and Austin both have had up and down seasons. Austin was removed. Now D'Lo has been removed. So I understand it. If it was me personally, that's the lineup it's not the lineup I would use, but I think that is probably what the Lakers should be doing is, all right, let's put everything else aside. We know that this has worked in games that matter. Let's give this a shot and see if it works. Because we also get to build on the continuity we had last year, which the Lakers haven't been able to a whole lot this year.
God King Tony Clifton writes, TP should be coming off the bench because a contender in 23 should have a better 3-and-D guy starting in his place. And I think a version of that point is that Taurean Prince isn't well, like you just made the case, right, for last year's, starting group. Austin, D'Lo, Prince, LeBron, and AD, right?
No, Vando. You put Prince back in there.
Oh, yeah. See, he like lives in my
He's embedded himself.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's be fair to Taurean. He's had a good season, right? Like, let's be fair.
Pretty good. But I think a point, a version of the point that Tony is making there is that like he's being treated as a player and has been treated as a player better than he actually is all season long. We're like, one of the things that our boy Cranches has been keeping an eye on all year with him has been his matchup difficulty, which was top 10 for much of the year.
Yeah, I think it's 6th or 7th currently. Yeah.
It's that is a little too much responsibility, I think, for Taurean Prince. He's a $4.5 million player. Like he's played well, but I think he's played well also kind of compared to Vando, who hasn't looked like himself and hasn't been around very much. Cam, who's a minimum guy, and Rui Hachimura, who I don't think he's gotten a very fair shake this season. And it's just those are the kinds of things that kind of drives me a little bonkers. And the entire point of coming into the season, the big advantage that the Lakers were kind of circling all media day, all training camp, all early season. The reason so many guys were so excited on media day was, look at what we just did with like a month of preparation. Mm-hmm. Look at what we look like, mm-hmm. And that was a miraculous run that a team had like zero margin for error took care of business. And yeah, they got swept in the Western Conference Finals, but they got swept in the Western Conference Finals by the eventual champ and like the best player in the world, you know. And that's like what happens to miraculous runs, right? Cinderella's
It's an
slipper
acceptable
breaks
loss.
sometimes, you
Yes.
know. And
I mean, not acceptable, but understandable.
yeah, and that to me is where I think why, and again, like this isn't me prognosticating. This is me saying there is frustration in that locker room because those guys who went on that run are saying, when do we actually do the continuity thing? Because like not only have those guys played a minute together, but they scrapped the offensive system coming into this year, right? They went to that 5-out thing, which gradually they've moved away from as they've realized, good God, this isn't the thing to do with a team that doesn't have as much shooting as you need to run a 5-out. And so like gradually they're moving back towards this continuity thing. And I think everybody in that locker room is just sitting there like, all right, we're moving at this gradual pace to get there. Let's speed it up. Let's get there. Let's actually go back to the things that got us back to that Western Conference Finals and actually try to build off of it, because you look at those other teams in the league and maybe the Nuggets haven't gotten better. Like they've been, I think they're still at the top of the conference, but they've, you know,
No,
but they haven't like
Minnesota and OKC, but
they're like in that,
they're nobody's writing them off. They're right there. Yes.
Yeah. But they, you know,
If you ask me who's going to win the West,
they
my
haven't
answer is
gone
the Nuggets.
anywhere. They could, by the way, the Nuggets like have some young assets that they could turn into another role player and kind of bring back a Bruce Brown adjacent type player to give them more proven talent heading into the postseason. So they can get better. Boston did get better. Milwaukee did get better. OKC is just like, OKC looks great as is. And they could add, like, they could very easily, we could wake up after the trade deadline, they could have Pascal Siakam. Like,
sure. I mean, they have enough assets they could, yeah. I mean, they should be considered a threat for anybody who could possibly be traded. They
could trade for our entire
They
show.
can basically beat, as far as future assets, they can beat anybody's offer.
Yeah.
They have
so they
have Davis Bertans as matching salary, which is
right. And so like man, it's so weird, right? Keeping like extra open salary on your roster that isn't tied directly to your rotation. Man, what?
Stop it.
At some point, somebody should have said that all summer long. Did anybody? Can you recall somebody making that point?
Nope.
I'm trying to remember.
Nope. Do you want to, you know what? Never. No, I'm cute. No. There was one time where I wanted to have children just so that I could yell at them and tell them that they were making me drink. They were the reason I drank. Now I'm blaming you.
It's just me.
Yeah, now it's just Anthony in the Lakers lounge that makes me drink.
Like the number of times over the last like week or so when I've pointed out, like, yeah, you know, replacing Gabe Vincent's going to be really difficult because they're hard capped and because they only can really trade one first-round pick and because they have luxury tax concerns. Like that is it's a difficult needle to thread here. The number of people who have said like, yeah, I think you were kind of right in the summer has been like, I was hoping to be wrong, by the way. I was hoping that this team going in that direction of optimizing this team and focusing on that would be the right call. It's just things haven't played out that way because of injuries, because of whatever. I just think generally leaving yourself more margin for error is the smarter move. But the question that I've gotten more than any other question over, especially the last 48 hours, has been A, where's the show? B, B, is Darvin Ham's seat getting hot? And we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. But before we do so, I do want to say that this episode is brought to you by, and I think these are the last couple episodes brought to you by the Sleeper app. Use that promo code LA Lounge to get up to $100 back in a first deposit match. Again, that is LA Lounge, all one word, on the Sleeper app to get $100 back in towards whatever matching whatever you put into the app when you first sign up. Sleeper is a really fun experience. Like I've gotten a real kick out of it. I'm going to continue using the app even beyond this ad run that they have been so nice to supply us with. But Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, with over 5 million active users in 2022, while earning some of the highest levels of engagement per user in the industry. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper Picks is our real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. And then on Sleeper, you can get up to 100 times payouts depending on the way that you connect those picks. Share with your friends and get rewarded together. Again, thank you very much to the Sleeper app. We have some show news coming up in the coming days. I would say as soon as tomorrow.
Will you tell me so I can break it? I can be I can be Irwin, or I can send an Irwin bomb.
Do you want me to just like strongly lean you towards thinking that you have it correct, and then we can do that. We could do that whole dance again. No, I do.
Is this good news? I like this. Is this good news?
It is good news.
I like this. All right, I can't wait to hear. I like this.
That we will be out. I think we'll be sharing it tomorrow in the happy hour. We'll make it an extra happy hour that we will be sharing that news in. But yeah, let's talk about Darvin Ham's seat and the temperature of it. I'm going to start this by saying, and I've been asking around over like while I haven't been able to talk and in doing research for yesterday's piece, and from what I can gather, Darvin, his seat isn't like the temperature on his seat hasn't changed, but there is a little more concern about Ham than there has ever been in his time as Lakers coach, is how I would phrase that. I still don't think he's going to get fired this year for a variety of reasons. And I still think there's plenty of time to turn these things around. But the one thing that I heard over the last week or so, and maybe even a little bit before that, has been that there is some unease with the amount of foundational change that he keeps making. They are on their they're on their fourth starting lineup without having, like, not even counting injuries. I wrote this on the piece, but they're on their third.
I mean, it's at least a third, right? Because Austin started, and then Austin being removed, and Cam replacing him, and then now D'Lo being removed. So it's at least a third.
Yeah. So this is their third, not counting for injuries. I think eventually they'll be on their fourth because this one isn't going to work either. And when you have a coach and when you have a coaching staff that is so clearly searching in the way that Ham is searching, and to some in the locker room and to some around the Lakers while he is searching, it's like how have you ever played Marco Polo with kids?
I mean, I know what it is. No, but I know what it is.
All right. Well, sometimes when you or have you ever played like hide and seek with kids?
Yes.
All right. So you know how like kids suck at hiding,
yes.
right? Terrible. Yes. They are terrible at hiding.
Yes.
And so what you do when you are the seeker, right? You have to like pretend not to see them.
Yeah, or else it's not a fun game.
Yeah, like you have to be like
4 seconds and the game's over.
I can't find you. Where are they? And they're like laughing the whole time because they don't think you can see them. And in this case, the core from last year's team isn't laughing anymore. They're like, yo, we're over here. Like Ham is like searching for this team's identity. And he's like walking around the room. Every so often he glances over in that direction. He's like, where are you? I don't know. And that core is just like, yo, I'm over here. We're right here. We got you to the Western Conference Finals. and like, so I don't think that Ham and his seat are like the temperature on it are any warmer or anything like that. And I
It is
understand
not.
that's going to frustrate some people,
No,
but I
I
do
can tell
think,
you it just isn't. So you be
yeah,
frustrated if you want, but it isn't.
um, I do think though that there are more questions getting asked about him at this stage than at any point prior to this moment.
I'm not going to comment on that specifically. However, I think it is reasonable that, right, as the longer you coach and the longer you coach with, especially coming in as a new coach, the longer you're with any team or the longer you coach in general, there are more expectations, right? And this is the Lakers. So this is about winning a championship every single year. And some of this is my first time doing this, not excuses, reasons have fallen off, right? Like there is enough of a sample size to kind of start figuring out who he is. I have a much more grace, I guess, than you do about the lineup stuff. Some of the stuff that frustrates me is I think he's a little late to my main thing is I think he's a little late uh to stop runs for the other team, calling timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
That is the thing that I point to most about. That is my biggest frustration with him. Like the lineup stuff and not the lineup stuff so much because I get it. I get that too. The starting lineup stuff is not as big of a deal to me. Again, like I think I think we have to make a difference in evaluating coaches. We have to differentiate between like I would do something differently and this just isn't like this is a bad idea
Yeah.
and this doesn't work. I
Yeah.
think there
Like
are
starting lineup,
reasons.
for example, just is not going to work.
No, so I don't. But see, I don't know that that's true. I would do something different. It was not. It would not be who I would choose. But
Yeah.
I understand. I understand the thought process, right? I don't agree with the conclusion, but I understand the thinking of it. And I need to see a little bit more. If I'm him, I need to see a little bit more before I change again. The the timeout stuff just seems like objectively wrong to me. So that's what frustrates me. I'm just like, wait, no, like, all right, like you should have called the timeout like 4 possessions ago when it was a 9-1 run and now it's 15-1. I, so that's the main thing for me. But like he's not getting fired. So some of it's like the trade stuff. People send me trades all the time. You haven't really dug in and started. You've sent me some, but haven't really started
You know why I
inundating me.
haven't?
Oh,
You know
you
why I
haven't dug
haven't?
in. You haven't really dug in yet and started
No, no,
inundating
no.
me.
It's I
There's
would
one or
normally
two
be
here or
dug in
there.
by now.
Yeah, there's one or two here or there. But my point is
No,
like,
no, no. The reason
yeah,
I haven't is
yes,
because like they only have one pick that they can move. Like there's just
yeah, but
not very
there's
much that you can do.
yes, but there's swaps and there are protections that can be altered. Like there's some movement and yes. My point though is when I can just like dismiss stuff out of hand. I'm like, no, this isn't happening. So like, why are we still talking about it? And Darvin's not getting fired. So I do understand, and there are some areas, as I mentioned, that I think some improvement can be made. And I do think this is a time there is more continuity from last year, and Darvin is not a rookie anymore, and he has been through basically every situation at this point, other than coaching in the NBA Finals. So, yeah, I mean, like at some point, it is what it is, and he is who he is. Although, obviously, do think that coaches can still evolve. And to be fair to him, the complaint that we had last year is he defaults to playing 3 guys that are my height and smaller, like isn't a thing anymore, right? But Darvin's not getting fired. Like, so I do understand some of the consternation. This happens in every city. Like everybody hates their coach. Maybe Heat fans don't hate their coach. Heat fans are the only fan base that don't hate their coach. Everybody else hates their coach. I'm sure Spurs fans right now even hate Pop. Warriors fans I know hate Steve Kerr. Like who are the other legends of coaching, right? Like Rick Carlisle's a damn good coach. Pacers fans probably aren't really thrilled with him right now. So
I
this
think
is
Clippers
just what it
fans
is.
right now are pretty happy with Lou. I think there was some bumpy
I mean, yeah,
roads
because they've
here and there.
won they've won whatever 10 of 12 or something like that. But
Yeah, I'm saying, but
he was
I think he's
they were
handled.
ready to get rid of him 3 weeks ago too.
I was so rooting for them to do that, for reasons.
For
Here's the thing
reasons.
that
Just thank you for having me on
this is
the
this is
Lakers on for the last
a
time.
Carlo, who I know has been is a VIP member here.
Thank you, Carlo.
And if you guys become VIP members, right, all of your comments get read here, and you get to participate in the happy hour as those VIPs get built up. But the thing about Darvin is that he coaches without nuance. It's like it's either he goes too small or too big. Like he doesn't have an in between to his lineups, and that to me is where I kind of keep on landing. Is where's
Wait, hold on. Like now, the complaint was he was too small. Now it's too big. This is exactly in between. What do you mean?
No, it isn't. What?
This isn't. This he's not playing. He's not.
All
He's
right,
not
you're
playing
right.
Wood.
Aaron.
He's
He's
not
not
playing
starting
Jackson
Christian
Hayes.
Wood
He's
at
playing.
point guard.
He's playing
But
3 wings at least.
like, all right, two of whom can't shoot, cannot shoot.
Okay, then let's be specific about our complaints, because that was he's either too small or too big, and this is neither of those. This is
Okay,
bigger.
but you still, like, your starting group has to check off certain boxes, right? It has to provide at least some level of spacing. It has to have some level of size. It has to have some level of athleticism, creativity, finishing. Like there has to be so many boxes that need to get checked off so that you can I'll explain God King. I promise. I'll explain happy hour and the vision I have for it here soon. It's not only for VIPs, but VIPs can come up on the stage and like be on the happy hour with me, have a cocktail with me on happy hour on Fridays.
Attaboy.
But like with this one, right? And like, so the issue I had last year was that he was playing these lineups that didn't, must be this tall to ride this ride, and they did not. They were not tall enough to ride rides.
It must be
Six legs.
under this tall to ride this ride, unless you're LeBron or AD.
and so like that was, and this current iteration, right? They all are tall enough to ride the ride, but they can't all like Cam, who I thought shot the ball okay earlier this year. And took smarter shots. That has subsided, and now he is, I think, a lesser player because of it. Jared Vanderbilt hasn't made a three this year, which
I'm gonna be honest, and I like Jared a lot. I'm not sure he's ever gonna make a three again.
Man, his shot is whoever he hired to do his shooting this year, to help him with shooting this year. Wow, what the? Anyway. But yeah, like you have those, and like there isn't the necessary spacing, and you have the paint clogged perpetually because of that. So like, to Carlo's point, you need to combine these skill sets. You need to, check all of these boxes. And the thing is, like, I know a lot of it's become kind of popular to say, well, it doesn't matter who starts games. What matters more is who closes them. Sure. But that starting lineup tends to be your most played group over the course of a game. It's often the only lineup that, like, is going to start certain portions of the game. It's going to start the beginning of the game. It's going to start the third quarter, and they're going to get certain minutes together before your first sub comes in. This is like, it is a bit of a problem to have a starting lineup that, right now, that group right now. So in 2 games, where is it?
They were bad against the Celtics, and they were basically neutral against OKC.
Okay, but still, I would say in those 2 games, this group together is a 105 offensive rating, which isn't good.
Yeah, it's not good.
125 defensive rating.
It's not great either.
Also not good. And that should be the thing that they should be great at, right?
Yeah, but it's also in how many minutes?
Okay, 18 minutes.
I mean,
but it's like, all right. So here's the thing.
I don't think
I go to my
I
if
don't. It's
I
not
go to
enough
my
to say anything
stove,
definitive.
if I go and turn on my stove
Mm-hmm.
and let that burner run a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and get the grates good and hot,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I need a large sample size to tell me putting my finger on that grate's a good idea.
Except in the first game, I think they were +1 in the first game,
They were
right?
like, but
They were +1 against
you had
OKC in the
so
first
much
game.
outlier stuff go on there. Like you had, it was
Well, okay, so what? So there
it
and there
was
was
such a
no outlier
weird
stuff against
game.
Boston. That's the point of 18 minutes. It's all outlier
Well, no,
stuff for 18
it was
18
like
minutes.
the
Again, it's
problems that
also not the
pop up
lineup I
against.
would choose
Okay, then why are you defending it so ardently?
because I
But
because
so,
I don't think we've learned anything definitive yet.
all right, when is it definitive? And it's also like it's also kind of fitting that the guy who takes like 3 possessions too long to call a timeout is going to wait a few games too long to change this lineup again, and is taken 40 games too long by the time we might actually get that actual the better starting group back together, and to have 5 out completely scrapped to adjust to the team that he had in the first place. Like this is the
Well,
whole
no, but he didn't
crux
have
of
it
the
in the first.
problem.
No, he didn't have it in the first place because Vando still. I mean, and you have said this still
I've said
may
it.
not be Vando yet, right? Like, and he was not available until recently.
You've had Rui. Rui's been around all year, and his minutes,
No,
like there are
Rui has
some games
not
he
been around
plays.
all. First of all, Rui has not been around all year, but Rui has been around
What did
more
he
than
miss?
Vando.
He's missed what 5 games, six
I
games.
will look. I mean, Rui, his face got broken, and he had the ankle. I think it was his ankle that was. But continue.
But his role his diminished and grown and all this stuff, and like again,
Rui has played 22 of 31
so he's missed
games this
9
year.
games.
Yeah.
Well,
Or 30 games. Yeah, 22 of 30. He's played 2/3 of
no,
the
they played
games.
31. They
Yeah,
played
he's played
31.
2/3 of the games.
So he's been around mostly, and his role has been kind of inconsistent within those games.
I that's fine. I agree with that.
And like these are the things that, again, this isn't just me that is saying this. I don't know how many different ways,
No. I'm not putting it on you.
like,
I'm not putting it on you
like
specifically.
the guys are getting frustrated with it. One guy in particular whose ear Ham really needs to have is getting frustrated with it. And like LeBron.
I don't know where you've heard such things. But I will not doubt your sourcing.
Anywho, we've been going here for an hour. I do want to again really quickly hope everybody had a really nice holiday season, and we're
Yes.
getting ready to head into the New Year weekend.
Yes.
Tonight, voice.
No, you can just hang out.
Notwithstanding.
You can just hang out in the chat. You don't use your voice.
No,
Just hang out in the chat.
I'll be on there. I
Yeah,
like
just
doing the games. They're fun.
there. It is fun.
So tonight, the plan is for me to do a all access Lakers show here with Shub and with Raj and maybe with you. I don't know. Are the Lakers playing at home?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. No,
That is a 9:30 Texas time too.
Oh God, great.
Maybe we'll get you for the first half, and then
and then after the game, I'll be doing a post game
arena. It will be in
post game show with right here in the lounge. So subscribe so you don't miss that. And then tomorrow we'll be doing a happy hour, which will feature a show announcement that I'm very excited about.
I like this,
and we'll offer up some cool new things to those of you who listen and subscribe. So subscribe everywhere you get your podcasts to make sure you don't miss any of it. And my deepest apologies again for being gone. It's been 6 days since the last episode aired.
I mean,
I apologize for that.
Christmas and yeah.
Well, I was going to record on Christmas night, but I was not able to do so because my whole back of my throat was like carved up as if some little rat climbed back there.
I've been impressed with how well you've done this morning or this afternoon for you.
Aaron, thank you very much for doing this. We will hold off the ratings talk for the next time you and I get together, because I think that's an interesting conversation as well. Harrison will be back next week, at which point he will answer for his crimes as the Lakers.
He will speak for his sins. We're gonna do you're gonna be like Game of Thrones. You're gonna make him walk like naked up the esplanade
the Lakers,
and just say, shame and like have the townspeople throw shit at
Here's
him.
what I'll say. The Lakers look exactly
Shame.
like I would expect a team that spent an entire week in Vegas to look. Like coming off of that week in Vegas, they look like they're still trying to rehydrate and recuperate from that. And I'm blaming Harrison personally for this slog that the Lakers have been in. So you guys will tune in on
Shame.
Tuesday for that one
Shame.
when Aaron
We definitely need
answers for
Harrison
his
walking
comments.
like in the town square, walking naked in the town square
I'm
with
gonna get a
people
bell just for that show.
with a
Like
bell and people throwing like rotten produce at him.
I'll make him record with his cat in the room.
Does he get a body double is the question, because whatever her name is, who was the
Yeah,
queen?
that was a body double, huh?
Yeah, she had a body double. So does Harrison get a body double is the question.
We should all hope so, because I can't imagine that is very good looking. All right, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Aaron Larson. We'll talk to you later tonight.